Sunlight came through the thick curtains, making long shadows in the room where I had spent so many hours as a child. I used to sit on his knee as he explained business and money, but now the air felt heavy, almost choking me. The lawyer cleared his throat, and I sat up straight, gripping the armrests of my chair. And so, all of Charles Whitaker's property, including Whitaker Industries, all houses, and money, will be shared equally among his children and grandchildren, as follows. The words became blurry. My name, Eleanor, was missing. No trust fund, no small gift, not even a mention. The silence was loud in my ears. My Uncle Gregory's smirk confirmed it before the lawyer even finished speaking. My Aunt Clara's smile was full of satisfaction, and my cousins looked at each other, whispering like sharp knives. Grandfather wouldn't do this, I said again, my voice shaking. The room seemed to spin. Gregory leaned forward, pretending to be kind. Maybe he finally saw the truth about you, Ellie. A charity case. Not a real Whitaker. His words hurt, but worse was the truth behind them. They had planned this. The small insults over the years, the jokes about my goals, the times they forgot to mention my achievements, all led to this betrayal. I stood up, my chair making a loud noise on the floor. You'll regret this, I said, my voice calm now. Gregory laughed. Regret what? You have nothing. No name, no money, no legacy. He was right. But as I walked out, I promised myself I would build a legacy so strong it would destroy theirs. The first year was a battle. I rented a tiny studio apartment with barely enough space to move around. The only window faced a brick wall, blocking any sunlight. My office was just a corner of my small kitchen table, always messy with coffee-stained business plans and notes scribbled in the margins. To survive, I worked as a freelance consultant, using every skill grandfather had taught me about business and strategy. My nights were long, spent hunched over my old laptop, studying technology trends and market shifts. My days were filled with endless phone calls, most of which ended in rejection. I knocked on doors that never opened, sent emails that were ignored, and pitched ideas that no one wanted to hear. But I refused to quit. I kept reminding myself of grandfather's words. Opportunity is a ghost. You don't wait for it, you hunt it. 6 months in, my first real chance arrived. A struggling startup called NextGen Innovations was on the brink of collapse. Their CEO, a fierce and determined woman named Mara, was desperate for a solution. I studied their company and found a way to save it. Instead of letting their failing app die, I suggested something bold, turning it into a sustainability platform. Mara took a risk and hired me. We launched EcoTrack, an app that helped businesses track their environmental impact. Within months, it exploded in popularity. Investors noticed, customers poured in. NextGen was saved, and so was I. By my second year, I was ready to build something of my own. I founded Voss Technologies, not just to make money, but to take over the market. I looked for problems no one else was solving. AI-driven waste management, blockchain for supply chains, and renewable energy solutions. I spent every waking moment networking, meeting investors, and selling my vision. Slowly, my team grew. I hired the best, brilliant coders, talented engineers, and a former Wall Street analyst named Diego, who became my CFO. He believed in my mission, and together, we pushed forward. In my third year, we landed a major government contract to modernize city infrastructure. It was a turning point. By year 4, we were powerful enough to acquire a competing firm, doubling our size almost overnight. In year 5, Voss Tech was valued at $8 billion. The media called me the Silicon Queen. Reporters asked how it felt to go from having nothing to building an empire. I smiled at their words because they didn't understand. I was never empty-handed. I had everything I needed, a sharp mind, a strong purpose, and a score to settle. Whitaker Industries fell apart like a house of cards, but the cracks had been there for years. It all started with Julian, Gregory's favorite son, who wasted his trust fund on gambling and drugs. Desperate to pay his debts, he stole $12 million from the company's research division, hiding it through fake businesses and sending it to a Swiss bank account. The SEC found out, and the scandal exploded. The headlines called him a spoiled sociopath, and the family's already weak reputation completely fell apart. Then came the product recall. A line of Whitaker's smart home security systems stopped working properly, trapping elderly people inside their own homes. Videos of retirees breaking down doors with brooms went viral. Lawsuits poured in, and the stock price dropped 70%. Investors ran away like rats, leaving a sinking ship. By the time the board removed Gregory as CEO, the company was already ruined. I watched it all from my penthouse, the city spread out beneath me like a shining chessboard. Mara, my longtime ally and CEO of NextGen, sent updates with cold satisfaction. "Your uncle's begging for a bailout," she texted. "Offered to sell their Manhattan HQ for 20% of its value." I sipped my champagne, feeling the bubbles sting my tongue, and laughed. Let them beg. Then, at 11:47 p.m., a call came from a number I hadn't seen in 5 years. "Eleanor." Gregory's voice was rough, stripped of his usual confidence. "We need to talk." I leaned back in my chair, my silk robe pooling around me. The penthouse was silent except for the distant hum of the city. "Do you?" I said smoothly. "The board wants restructuring. Creditors are closing in. If we don't get funding, you'll lose everything." I finished for him. How poetic. A pause. Then softer. "You owe us this." "Oh." My grip tightened on the glass. "Oh, you erased me, left me with nothing. And now you crawl?" "It wasn't personal," he snapped, the old anger coming back. "You were a risk, a girl pretending to do business." Personal enough to laugh when I walked out of that room, to let me go hungry? I stood up, pacing to the window. Below, a homeless man curled up under a bridge, a shadow of the girl I used to be. "No, Uncle, you don't get to rewrite history. You want my help?" "Beg." Silence. Then a shaky breath. "Please, for your grandfather's sake." His name was a knife to my heart. I had buried that girl, the one who had cried over his will, who had held on to his words like they were sacred. "Grandfather taught me to be ruthless," I said quietly. "You should have thought of that before you betrayed me." The call ended. They lasted only 3 more weeks. Whitaker Industries declared bankruptcy. Gregory and Clara sold their Hamptons estate, their art collection, even Clara's diamond tiara. Julian disappeared to Belize, leaving behind piles of unpaid debt. The media loved their downfall. Whitaker heirs reduced to paupers, the fall of a dynasty. At a charity gala, I saw Celeste, my cousin who had once been so cruel, hiding in a corner, holding a worn-out clutch. Her dress was from last season, the hem already frayed. "Please, Ellie," she whispered, her mascara smudged with tears. "We'll work for you. Anything." I studied her. The girl who had mocked my thrift store blazers, who had called me pathetic at grandfather's funeral. "And let you betray me again?" "No. But I'll tell you what I told your father. Karma's a bitch, and now she works for me." That night, I opened grandfather's old scotch and raised a glass to his portrait. "See, old man, I didn't just survive. I won." But as I looked at his smile, the one that had always seemed to say, "You're meant for greatness," I felt an emptiness inside me. Victory didn't taste as sweet as I thought it would. Today, Voss Technologies is a company that provides jobs to 10,000 people. These hardworking individuals contribute to the success of a business that is changing the world in many ways. Over the years, we have led the way in creating carbon-neutral cities, making places that do not harm the environment while still supporting modern life. In the field of medicine, we have transformed healthcare through artificial intelligence, making treatments faster, smarter, and more effective. We have also taken steps to support young minds with big dreams by funding scholarships specifically for entrepreneurs who have lost their families and are trying to build their own futures. My name is known everywhere. People associate me with groundbreaking ideas, with pushing the limits of what is possible, and with never settling for anything less than greatness. But my name is also tied to retribution, to making sure that those who have wronged me or stood in my way face the consequences of their actions. And the Whitakers? Their story serves as a warning to others. People whisper about them, about what happened to them, about how they fell. Their downfall is a lesson that no one forgets. Yet, even with everything I have achieved, even with my power and success, there are moments when I walk through the grand glass hallways of my company's headquarters and hear my grandfather's voice echoing in my mind. His words have never faded. A leader isn't measured by what she destroys, but what she builds. So I build, again and again, without stopping, without resting. I create, innovate, and push forward no matter what stands in my way. And I never, ever look back.